D tackle Lee Hunter, Texas Tech, was just announced as a top 30 visit for the Bills. And when you watch his film, I don't think it was any surprise that he would be a top 30 or a guy of interest for the Bills. 6'3" and a half, 318 pounds, 33 and 1/4 inch arm length. And he's a guy that, if you're talking the movement style defense, he can do it. If you're talking just anchoring and two gapping, he's got the size and length to do that as well, at a decent clip. Listen to this stat that I pulled from True Media. So since 2023, among all D tackles, Lee Hunter has 108 tackles against the rush. That's tops overall for D tackles. He has 61 solo tackles against the run. That's first overall in the last last 3 seasons. And fifth in run stop percentage in 2025. He is super productive. And I would not have expected that, honestly, because some of the film is just, it's okay.
Yeah.
But he seems to somehow make plays. And I hate to compare him to players, but like if you're looking at body type, kind of reminds me of Jordan Phillips, where he's like got a thick, wide upper body, but his legs are actually kind of smaller. So it's a little underdeveloped. It's one of the notes I have for areas of opportunity and getting better. But man, I think he'd be another guy that would fit really well right up the middle for the Bills.
Yeah, he is a little kind of in that top heavy build type of deal, with not like kind of, especially with how big he is, like his legs look kind of spindly potentially with what he is. Yeah, but one of the first things I have from a summary standpoint in my notes is he's more movement based than someone might think, just based on his size and his weight. Eugene, I feel like he wins a lot that way, like that guy who's trying to quick swim somebody on the snap or backdoor something on the zone. Just that movement ability. And then, like you said, though, there's also times on tape where I feel like he's stuck in neutral or just like can't move. And he was a really odd eval for me. And I'm still kind of like unsure what to do with him, because there's times where I'm like, wow, this is great. And then I watch more games and I'm like, oh, this is horrible. And I just like, he confused the hell out of me. Like, to be honest.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he looks like Jordan Phillips. And then there's some of those plays where like, holy crap, look at the snap timing there. He jumped it, he made a play in the backfield. Big TFL. Then there's other times where he was on the ground a lot. Dude. He was getting dropped on feed blocks way more than I expected for a guy his size. And that, one of my negatives for him is that inability to be rooted consistently. Dude, there are so many times where he's a feed block is coming and he doesn't drop a near knee, or he's literally trying to anchor by bouncing on one leg up, and his pads are up, they're under him, and he just doesn't anchor and he gets dropped to the turf. So I'm with you. I think there are times where like he can be unstoppable. And then there are times like, dude, if you just use your technique, which is again a positive thing in the future, like we can coach that up as coaches, but there were times you just ended up on the ground way too often because of that upright, narrow base and guys getting under him, or guys feeding him to say he's over the center like this, and the guards feeding him to get leverage for the center, and he's just getting thrown to the grass.
Yep. One of my bigger notes for him is needs work on being able to stay rooted, anchoring, and recognizing double teams and dropping the knee. There's one against BYU. It was the third game I watched of his, and he in the playoff game, or the Big 12 championship, and he drops the knee and gets through the double. And I think that might have been the first time I saw him do that in the 3 games that I had watched. And I was like, oh, like,
and it wasn't even all the way to the ground. His knee wasn't even all the way down. It was like halfway. Yeah,
but just because he did it, it made me so excited.
He's naturally strong too.
Yeah,
that's the thing, right?
It's just really, I'm really glad that you're kind of in the same headspace, because I'm still now, even from like a grade standpoint, I'm just like, I don't know what to do with this guy. Because the flashes are there, but like you said, then there's reps that are ugly and questionable, and you're just confused by what he thinks he is, or what he knows he is or doesn't. It's interesting.
Here's one as a nose tackle, zero tech, and you see the feed block is kind of meh, and so it doesn't really move in, and he's able to two gap on this play. You see him peek right there and then disengage and make the tackle. So I do think he can. I do think he can play nose tackle. I think he can do that. But again, he's going to have to get better at his technique, his run game technique, recognizing, hey, a feed block's coming. Maybe I should drop this near knee until it dissipates and he moves to the next level to go get the linebacker, because he has a natural strength. There's no doubt about it. He is country strong. He's powerful when he wants to be. And as we'll show, he's got pretty good feet. He's very quick laterally, and he's very good at snap timing, but he's just got to work on some of the run defense technique, which again, I think is very coachable. And if there's anything that, if you're trying to get a run defender, that is something you want to have in your bag. And so I think he's got the physical traits. I think they just need to work on the coachability and ability to can take those techniques that the coaches are giving him and putting them on the field.
Yeah, and I like the point you made about lateral agility. He's got good lateral agility. He can jump gaps. Like, he can move. Again, he's been playing as like a movement style. See, like, this was the first game I watched. This is the playoff game, the Orange Bowl game against Oregon. He was
damn good.
Yes, and I was like, dude, this guy's a monster. And then I watched more, and I was like, dude, I don't. So also now, like, and now as I'm saying it aloud, I'm thinking, like, is he one of those guys who like shows up for the big games? Like, when he knows, like, okay, like, we got to get after it this week. Let's do it. Because you see on this one, he looks like King Kong Godzilla stuff. Let me swim one. Let me kind of hump move, throw this other guy aside. Like, he looks like a world eater inside.
Yeah. I mean, you see it. He is, again, zero tech. So again, it's not just about two gap, and you see him swim that center, and then the natural strength. Watch the right arm come over the back right here of that guard, and
he's
then
so disadvantaged there. The guard's underneath him, like, and he's so tall, like, and that natural strength that you said, he's out leveraged. He should be out positioned, but like you said, he's got the natural strength, so it just lets him go, okay, no, get out of my way, and he chucks it. And then, my first note from the Oregon game is, can be a monster inside, can ragdoll blockers. And then as we went forward in more games, I was like, is this still true?
Yeah, he was on a tear in this game, man. Just throwing guys. Look at how he explodes into the guy, the hands. Watch the guy's pads get popped up, and then he uses, after that push forward right there, he just discards them this way. It's just it's pretty, man. Dude. And so again, the skills and size and natural ability are there. They just have to hone it. Like, we talk about the quickness off the snap. Look, these are like 2 or 3 plays in a row. Same type of thing. Swimming that near offensive lineman, making a play in the backfield. Look how quick he is on that play. Again, reminiscent of Jordan Phillips splash plays. And if he can get that consistency, that Jordan Phillips never really could, he could be a very scary player, Anthony.
Yeah. And even this one, like, there's some good body control there as he's going down to the ground. Like, he's not just like flopping and falling down all over himself, discombobulated. Like, he gets tripped up. He's especially getting like kneed in the stomach. But he has the wherewithal and the awareness. He puts his left foot in the ground, pushes himself forward, uses that 53rd percentile arm length to still affect the ball carrier there. Like, that's some good body control to be able to maintain his balance and make a play. I would like him to use that body control against double teams. And against some feedbacks.
Yeah. Here's one again, swimming backdoor, arm over there, very quick off the snap, understands the block he's going up against. TFL once again. Here's a movement-based type scheme right here. He is backdoor. You see all the defensive linemen slanting from right to left on the screen. He does that, and then boom, ricochets back into the play and wraps up the running back.
Yeah, and I think, again, we're talking about movement-based, and he ideally, again, needs to play more rooted, more anchored, like we've discussed. But you see these type of plays. This is all over Texas Tech's tape, and it made sense with Romello Height on one side and Bailey on the other side, and then you got Rodriguez in the middle and Hunter, and before Skylar Gill Howard went down, you had him on the interior. Like, they just had all these dudes that can jump gaps and shoot, but you see it a little bit. This is a dude who is tall and 6'3", 318 pounds, and look at him just move pretty nimbly. You see some of the, again, I don't use finesse in a negative way. You see some of the finesse plays, and you're like, okay, he's probably a beat him up guy too. And if you watch the Oregon game, like, here's another one here, you think, yes, that's exactly what he is. So he can do it. You just need him to consistently do it.
Right. And you see him playing long there with that play side hand and getting back into the play after losing leverage to start. Very nice play once again, Oregon. Yeah, Oregon tape had some really good plays in the backfield.
If you watch that Oregon tape, like, your initial thought is like, oh, this dude's probably like a late first, early second type of guy. Like, look how dominant he is. Like, that Oregon tape is so good.
Yeah, here's a pass rush, a power rush, where he kind of hangs his hat when he's rushing the passer, getting right into the BYU offensive lineman, driving him back. You see it from the end zone angle. He does this a bunch where he's pushing, and he'll pull at times. This one, he just goes straight power right into the quarterback. And again, I think he does offer a little play there when it comes to rushing the passer. Not a lot, but it'll be based on if he can win that first move when he's timing the snap, when he's jumping the snap. Because he does have good feet. And it's funny, my note about his footwork and his quickness are he creates short edges with Stewie-like steps because they're very short, they're choppy, and like his base is so narrow, like his feet when he's running quickly laterally, just like like Stewie. And you'll see it on film, but he does things like this, like I said, he's pushing, pulling, and he'll drive with power in one direction. You see him kind of pressing out this way, and as that guy starts falling this way, he pulls him, and then darts back up inside. Something that shows up on his film as a pass rusher.
Yeah, I do think he has the potential to create disruption. But like you said, it's all timed to that initial first step. That initial, if he can time the snap and have a good get off, and then win first touch and use his arm length to his advantage, then he has the opportunity. Yeah, create some knockback, get some guys off kilter, and then he can feel them being off kilter. And like this one, pull himself back the other way or discard a guy. So he doesn't have a bag. He's not like moved up, but he does have the potential to create some knockback given that he's got some pop and some length. He just has to time it right.
Watch this one. Offensive lineman is power stepping inside, squaring up Lee Hunter. He's coming down with power, but then you see him just use finesse outside, and you see him just, again, those short little Stewie steps to affect the quarterback there on this play and really help force the interception to Jacob Rodriguez.
Really nice interception too by Jacob Rodriguez. Nice.
That's ridiculous.
One-handed pick there. Yeah, he's always around the ball making great. Also, shout out to Texas Tech. Some really cool jerseys. Sometimes these numbers piss me off because it's hard to tell who's who in the sunlight with these silver numbers. But yeah, another like, again, finesse type of move that I think he's more accustomed to. If you compare the finesse stuff, because this is nice, like subtle hand movement. Let me get myself clean. Let me shave that ankle, or shave that angle and take my Stewie steps. Like you mentioned there, and create some disruption. Like if you can do that and pair it with a guy who also won't get moved a ton and is more disciplined on the interior and in the center of the defense, that is a really exciting guy. And I even watching this tape now, I'm like getting back like, man, sweet. And then I'm also like, man, I don't know. Like And so you have
he's a guy you can't just watch like the positives.
No,
because if you just watch the positives, again, he'd be a day one lock. But watching the plays, the negatives, and the whole player in totality's film, you're gonna see that it brings him down a bunch. It brings him down a few rounds. That's why I have him in the third round. Now, I do think Dominique Orange, Big Citrus, is a little higher than him. Then you see on this graphic, I have him a little higher than Lee Hunter, but they're very close. They're both third rounders in my book. And again, it depends on the fit, what type of guy the Bills seem to like. And I think they obviously like both of these guys. And there are some traits and skills that both of these guys really do share.
Yeah, I kind of have him in a similar tiering. Again, I last week for Orange, for me, I'm still even Orange gives me some pause attention. That's more of the defense of what Iowa State does, like we talked about. Orange, I'm like second, third, or a third. Hunter, I'm like a third or a third, fourth. I fluctuate like every day. It depends on the game I've watched and how I recently feel. But I do think from a tiering perspective, they're both the easiest way I can put it, like Hunter and Orange. They're both dudes who, like, if they were available at 91, I'd be like, okay, like I'd take them at pick 91. Like that would be solid, especially depending on what they do.
Yeah, either of them are there. And that someone mentioned it. There seems to be a lot of second and third rounders there. I agree. For looking at the people that were publicly announced that the Bills have met with or are meeting with, there are a lot of those guys in that cluster. And I don't think that's by accident. I do think that, whether the Bills trade out of the first round, get another pick, whether that's a third or fourth rounder, we'll see if that's an option or avenue they explore. Either way, I do think that there's a reason why they're focusing in on and really trying to study and get good backgrounds and data on guys that are in that second round that could fall into the third. And it's going to be at all positions. You're going to see clusters there. Even when the Bills are on the clock, say they stay, and they're in the third round, there's going to be a cluster of guys from essentially every position, it seems, just based on what we know of who they're looking at in the draft.
Yeah, 1000%. And yeah, I grabbed that comment. It was from Taylor, who
Thanks,
said,
James.
yeah, shout out to Taylor, who said, sure does seem like there are a lot of second and third round prospects that have been in for 30 visits. Trade down would seem likely at this point. Hopefully a trade partner has been arranged. Yeah, it just kind of echo Taylor's thought there and exactly what you said. It's part of the reason why I wanted them to trade down from 26. I feel like the glut of value in this draft is like from 30 to 75, 80, somewhere in that range. I have a ton of, I have to quantify it, but I feel like I have so many more like day 2 grades on guys than I have in like years past. And there's so many dudes who I'm like, oh, I would love this guy in the 40s and 50s or 60s. I'd love these guys in the 70s, 80s, 90s. And I feel like I haven't said that so much in years before. And it kind of tracks with what our grades are so far and the guys that they've been bringing in and kind of scouting. It makes sense, especially with given what this class is, which, you know, depending on if you believe the narrative or not, there's not a ton of blue chips, but there's a ton of usefulness across the board at several positions.